morning. There was a phone call in the middle of a Saturday morning, a request from the hospital. An elderly woman was sitting with a dying son and wanted the chaplain to come and sit with her. He went. He found the room, he sat in a chair next to her, and through tears and smiles and laughter, she told the story of her son, herself, and her late husband. At the times they shared of the son's serious and severe disabilities, the challenges and struggles that had met over the years, but also the joy and the fun and the life they'd had together. The hard work of caring for him and ensuring his welfare, of ensuring he took all the medications that he had to take over all the years and that were now causing his body to break down. She shared stories and questions and wondering. His eyes flickered open and he looked up and saw her. She introduced the chaplain and they talked for a little while as she wiped his brow and held his hand. She asked the chaplain to pray, and he prayed for her son in this journey into the unknown and the mystery of death and beyond. Prayed for the woman in her journey as she cared for him and the love they shared. At the end of the prayer, the man closed his eyes once again, and around him the machines flooded and flickered and pinged, showing his slow journey into death. As they sat and talked, the woman asked more questions. Why me? Why him? Why us? Why was it like this? She said stories that were difficult and hard and fun and life and real. Where is God in this? Why would God allow this? Where is God now? Questions that we all ask on this boulevard of broken dreams, this journey we make, this street of sorrows, this place where hopes lie broken and shattered like a glass bottle on the pavement. The woman asked questions in the midst of her grief, her pain, her loss, her anguish, her despair, her loneliness, the lonely journey that we all make at different times in our lives along this boulevard of broken dreams, asking why, if only, we had hoped. But now it's all finished, all gone. But the chaplain was a stranger who joined her on the journey, who accompanied her in these last desperate hours, who sat and shared and talked and watched and waited, who prayed and offered words of comfort and hope, who gave her strength and sat with her in those last moments, who journeyed with her in the next phase of remembering and celebrating her son's life and mourning his death. A friend who was once a stranger, who journeyed with her and revealed something of the light of Christ in the midst of her darkness and fear and pain. And that's what happens to us on this boulevard of broken dreams. The friend or the stranger who joins us on the journey, in whom is love and comfort and hope and peace, who offers us that way forward, that offers a new hope, a new promise that life can go on, that this is not all there is. And someone shares our journey and our pain. And that's the story we read this week. In fact, it's the stories of Easter, of resurrection, where the risen Christ becomes friend and stranger, unidentified one, mysterious one, who breaks into life on this boulevard of broken dreams, bringing renewed hope in the midst of uncertainty and confusion and grief and despair and loss. And in this story, two disciples are leaving that city of dreams, of hopes, Jerusalem, the holy city. They're leaving with despair and grief and sorrow. This one that they'd followed, this one in whom they'd invested hope and belief and trust, was dead, lay in a tomb after dying on a cross. And they were journeying home. The boulevard of broken dreams. The way of sorrow and loneliness and despair. And as they journeyed with their questions, their grief, their pain, a stranger joined them and listened and asked questions. And as they struggled with the faith and hope, and he shared stories of a bigger picture, of the bigger dreams of their faith and life, and spoke of God and God's presence in all of this, and gave them comfort, renewed hope, strength to carry on. And when they got home, they went in and he continued on, but they beckoned him back. Come and join us for dinner. And he sat at the table, and the guest then became the host, taking bread and breaking it, giving thanks, taking a cup and blessing it. And suddenly their eyes were open. This stranger was no stranger. He was this one, this Christ. In this one, they experienced this risen Christ. Hope, life, new life. This stranger on the road had filled them with life. And they rushed back to Jerusalem, to the disciples, to tell their story. And they shared other stories of hope, of resurrection, of life. The end was not the end, but a new beginning. And God was with them. And they had hope. They had renewed strength that they would get there. They didn't know what it meant, but the Spirit of God, the Spirit of this risen Christ would be with them and sustain them and give them strength to do what needed to be done next, to live the next phase of life, to live into the new life they were offered. And that's what we're offered. In the boulevard of broken dreams, the strait of sorrows, whatever it is, where there's grief and despair and loss and pain, this risen Christ breaks in. The Spirit of God breaks in friend or stranger, who holds our hand, who listens to our tale of woe, who shares our sorrow and our pain and our anguish, who walks a little bit of our journey, who breathes new life into us by sharing the load and offering stories of faith and hope and the belief that we can live again. And this is the story we're invited to live into. We're invited to embrace. The story we're invited to share with the world, because our world, with all its pain, with all its warfare and conflict, with all the narcissistic, egotistical leadership that leads us into places of violence and hatred and vengeance and warfare and violence, more violence, we need people of hope. People who have walked that broken road of shattered dreams and hopes, the loneliness and despair, and experienced grace, life, hope, love, peace, truth, justice, and live into that way, because our world needs this way of reconciliation, this way of forgiveness, this way of letting go and trusting in God to lead us forward into the new place. We need people of hope, people of love, people of inclusive community, people who forgive and draw people into new life. That's what our world needs, and that's what Easter offers us. Will you be part of this journey, sharing the boulevard of broken dreams with other people, living life more fully and truly in this way of Christ? Will you join in this way of hope and peace for the sake of our world?